And welcome to Gulfstream today. Ron Nicoletti, joined by our track announcer, Pete Aiello. Pete, should be another fantastic day of racing here at Gulfstream Park. We're starting with a fast main track, firm turf course. They nailed the pick 6 again yesterday.
They sure did, but we have a pick 5 carryover to chase, a 50-cent pick 5 in a very, very tough sequence. So still some great wagering opportunities here this afternoon. Full fields, competitive fields, and at least in my view, not a whole lot of standouts.
And there's one thing, when there is a carryover in the pick 5, they send it in, so it's going to be a great wager. It's in race number 7 today. It's the last 5 races of the card. As Pete mentioned, 17,000 plus, and we're guaranteeing $50,000 in that Rainbow Six pool. Hit yesterday, 20-cent wager. You don't know how much the people bet, but bring it down $73,000 with a 20-cent sequence. That's pretty darn good.
Yeah, and it wasn't an easy sequence, too. Texas Rustler at 25-1 in the feature kind of threw a lot of tickets in the trash.
Yeah, I mean, he paid $53 at 10-1 on the morning line. I thought he would be bet more than he was, but Mickey Kroger, one of the trainers I watched that comes over from Calder, always pick him every once in a while as a long shot. Well, there's no better way to start the day at Gulfstream Park than with a turf race. And our first race this afternoon, 1 mile and 1/16. These are claimers 3 and up. Non-winners of 2 in life, 12,500. Scratch the 3, Gridiron Great. And how'd you see the opener?
I love Gridiron Great. I was going to talk all about Gridiron Great, but I'm going to back into a long shot here. Number 10, Mr. Exclusive. I went to the wedding. I'm going to the funeral. He ran terrible last time, but it was only a week ago, Ronnie. So this horse, he's back on quick rest. He's taking to the turf course again, a surface he has some experience over, and he's stretching out. All of that off a week's rest. I think that DeCosta was just trying to tighten the screws with him last time. The course has been a bit firm, and I think that he has a chance to go coast to coast. The number's right here, 14-1 right now. I expect that price to be about in that range.
Yeah, well, I like that because I had a tough time with this race. I went with a horse that just broke its maiden. Usually don't do that, but I couldn't find any other way to go, so maybe your way was right. I did go with the 7 Strongbow. He's stepping up to the next logical level after drawing clear at the furlong marker. He defeated those $12,500 maidens at Trainer Rashon Creek. He's been having a great meet. He's only 35% with horses winning consecutive races, but maybe a long shot is certainly the way that you might want to think to go in our first race of the afternoon. We're going to flip to the second race, and the second race is a 6 furlong sprint. These are maiden claimers. Fillies and mares, 3 and up, $12,500. 1 jock change on the 8. Make the rider Francisco Maisonette. And we have a video to show you that I know you were interested in, of the number 6 horse in here, Flash Winner, its last race over at Calder.
Yeah, I want to take close attention to this. You can see Flash Winner is behind traffic. If we backed it up, he was in taking dirt, as you say, the entire time. He's now finally shown open racetrack, and the horse on the lead is a 2-5 favorite by the name of Vaguely Distinctive, who's getting a bit weary. But watch Flash Winner really finish up well in this race. Finished up beating about 2.5 in the end, but that was about the only time the horse ran. He ran for about 1/8 of a mile. It was his first start. He was kind of given that good old-fashioned experience trip. Teach him something, take dirt. Now we're stretching out to a longer trip of 6 furlongs, something clearly based on the backtrack we like. Michael Ritvo takes over, and Gustavo Delgado now handles this horse. Delgado, a very, very good conditioner, especially with first-time acquisitions. This is my best bet on the program. So going back to wagering strategy for the first race, maybe an all to the 6 daily double, tie up some long shots in the first, onto this horse in the second race in the pick 3. I'm a big fan of the 6 Flash Winner in race 2.
Yeah, and you're right about Gustavo Delgado. If you've been following any of the racing at Gulfstream, he's been doing a fantastic job. And that number of him getting new acquisitions to his barn, about 33%. With that said, I went with the 2. We have our exacta flip-flop, and that's In the Shape of Heart. I think this one is ready to exit the maiden ranks, press the pace, finish second, a career debut. Level and distance. Trainer Stevie DeMauro has Eduardo Nunez in the irons, and Eduardo Nunez, the all-time leading rider at Calder Racecourse, and he rides pretty good. So I would not have any qualms about putting Eduardo Nunez on top of my ticket. But I agree with you with this.
Well, the thing about these maiden ranks is that there's definitely strong races and there's weak races, and if you can know the difference and know which races are okay and what form holds up, you definitely have an advantage, because there's sometimes horses run second and third in these races and the races are not nearly as good as a horse who finished 4th in a same category race. So it's just a stronger field.
Right. So that's what the old trip notes are about, and keeping some stats. We're going to go to the third race. We're going to stretch it out to a one-turn mile. Claimants 3 and up, $6,250. I like the conditions of this race. Not won a race since January 27th, 2014. Very concise on that date, January 27th. I love those things. Scratched 3 horses in here. The one in spite of it, the 3 Beer Garden. I know Pete was very upset when they scratched Beer Garden.
I was, actually.
And number 4, Serapi Cat. I scratched into the 8 horse, and I'm sure that you did the same.
Yeah, the 8 horse Temecula Creek, he's another one that's back in quick rest. He's a 10-year-old 16-time winner. Now, I didn't go back to our official stat man, Dave Joseph, but I promise you, if this horse is not a graded stakes winner, he's at least graded stakes placed, previously conditioned by Rudy Rodriguez in New York. This horse has been around. He's a game campaigner, and again, he draws an outside post with a short field, and short of the 2, what's up, not much. There's no speed in here, so figure the 2 goes to the lead. Temecula Creek flanks him, and if he runs like he did last week, he is the horse to beat.
Well, I put the 6 on my ticket, Speed Lightning. This one just turned back tomorrow. This makes a good case for what you were saying in the last race. 3-ride bid to finish 4th behind a repeat winner, Distinctive Pick. And Distinctive Pick is a horse, and you see him in your past performances. Anybody that's run with him, you got to give us a special look, especially at this level, you know, $6,250. And that was my reasoning for putting the 6 Speed Lightning on my ticket.
Well, the 5 horse Explosive Image has some intrigue to me, but the short field's not going to help his trip. George Handy's second start off the shelf, takes a tumbling drop in class, comes back off a race with Jess Jebica, who's a 12-time winner, and Awesome Attack, who came back to run Thursday and get a good turf race, ended up 3rd that afternoon. So this is a huge class drop for Explosive Image. I just don't know that he's going to have anything to chase, and I don't know that sitting close to the pace is his thing.
Well, we're going to go to the 4th race. This is a 5.5 furlong sprint. These are maiden filly 2-year-olds. And I have a horse that I want to show you its debut, and that is the number 2 horse in here, Beautiful Tashi, who's a half to Wildcat Red. And you can see at the beginning it's the 10 horse. Beautiful Tashi, you know, gets shuffled back a little bit. They rush him up, and, you know, to get him into position. Now when he turns for home, he's sort of making a nice move on the inside. And I said, boy, this horse is going to... Matter of fact, your call is, you know, at this particular time, is the 10 horses starting to move, sort of flattens out, and finishes an okay 4th. I'm just thinking in career start number 2, this horse might move forward this afternoon. Just wanted to show that race.
Well, this is another case of we have a lot of maiden categories. We have a lot of different horses in the 2-year-old ranks at this time of year in South Florida. So you have to kind of keep your own notes and keep your own opinions on what races are strong and what races are maybe not as strong, even if they're both special weights. And based on that, I like the 3, Evelyn's Dream. I think she exits the best race. Raya Binka was a tested maiden from the Dorochenko barn who was favored that afternoon. And then Katie's Kiss from the David Falk stable. She came back to beat a pretty well-regarded field of maidens last week. So Evelyn's Dream, second start of her career for Bill White. Bill's not known for his first-time starter prowess. Now he's in second-time start with Edgar Zayas riding. I don't know that the price will be there, but I like this horse quite a bit.
Yeah, he's over 20% with the maidens making their second start. I did go with Awesome Ice, and just a logical choice, I thought, to shed the maiden tag today. Finished second, beating a length at this same level in distance. Trainer Stanley Gold's got Ramsey Zimmerman in 8th ride because Edgar Zayas sticks with the horse you put on top. So maybe we're chasing some jockeys in our 4th race of the afternoon.
I do want to mention one thing just as a FYI. The number 10 horse competitive player in this race, working well for trainer Manny Aspero with Caber Coa set to ride. This horse's brother, 5 Gears, won yesterday. So just a little bit of an intrigue there. Sea West, the mare, is both the mare of 5 Gears who beat special weights on the grass yesterday and a competitive player. So maybe this is a prep. I was intrigued enough to use the horse in my multi-leg wagers.
The 5th race this afternoon, a 5-furlong turf sprint for maiden 2-year-olds, and there's been a horse of one big distinction who's been in trouble in both starts. So
not only trouble, he was playing ping pong in his first 2 races, especially that career debut where he finished second behind the O'Connell horse Vespertini. But let's take a look at his last race from the 6 post. He looked like he was supposed to win that race, and Street Rage, the eventual winner, floats out, and as you can see, he had to alter course. He was in tight before that, and so he's really he's being taught a lot of things. That's the good news. The bad news is he hasn't really had a clean trip. And trainer Michael Yates has been doing very well with the 2-year-olds. The key thing here, see the horse second there, Ronnie? Sing Praises?
Right.
This horse came back as a maiden in a stake and won by open lengths.
Yeah.
And this horse only beat Big Distinction by a length and a half. So.
Yeah, I got Big Distinction on my ticket for all those reasons, but I did go with Kutuzov, and the reason I went with the 6 Kutuzov, finished a really well-meant second in her previous turf outing back on June 27th, returns to the grass, due for lead, faded, was going a mile, it was on the main track, so going off that performance on the turf back on June 27th, I put number 6 Kutuzov on top of my ticket, and don't forget Big Distinction today, he's going to wear blinkers.
Well, I think this is a pancake wager. It sounds like it to me. Sing Praises beat Kutuzov by 33 lengths. Sing Praises beat my pick, Big Distinction, by a length and a half.
Well, you got to mention there's 2 first-time starters in here, both the 3-horse and the 12. Kitten's Top Cat from the Wesley Ward barn, and also the 12, both daughters of Kitten's Joy, one of the greatest sires ever.
And, you know, the intriguing thing about it is they're both fillies taking on the boys in this spot. We found out from the racing office staff earlier this morning that they actually hung a filly sprint maiden race. And I thought for sure one of these horses would come out, and I was going to land on whichever one stayed in. But if they're both in, then I'm going to use them both. Manny Cruz riding the outside horse, Abdiel Hayen riding the inside pair. I mean, there's really nothing to go on rider-wise to figure out who is the livest of them all. And with Wesley Ward and Ken Ramsey, I'm going to use them both.
Well, you see, I might have put the 3 in there because the Kitten's Top Cat, I thought, had a little better post. That was the only reason separating. And when I made my pick 4 ticket up for today, I used all the, the 2 horses out on top, along with the 3 and the 12. Now we will flip the page and go to the 6th race, the 7 furlong claimer, 3-year-olds and up, non-winners of 3 races in life, $8,000. The jockey on the 3 is Alan Marat, scratched the 10, and scratched the 11, Alfie Come Home. I went with the 5, Wilco's Bullet in here, and you went with the number 8.
Well, this is a situation where I just flat out do not like the horse, and I do not like Wilco's Bullet in this spot. I'm not a fan of horses moving up the lifetime condition ladder that have had opportunities to do so and not done it. Wilco's Bullet was life and death to beat Tony Tile last time out. Tony Tile came back to just run okay against this level the next time he ran. Wilco's Bullet was second behind Carney, who was 1,000,000 to 1 the day that he won. And I just think that there's a couple of different ways to go in here, especially with the 2-to-1 morning line. So I landed on number 8, 10th Legion. 10th Legion's going to be a big number, and he's had plenty of opportunities to clear this category, but there's a lot of speed in here, and I think that the number 8 horse has a chance at a big number. I also give a look to the 9 horse, Summation Day. Summation Day takes a drop in class, second start of the form cycle. He's going to try to shake free, and when he's good enough to beat these. I just think in this particular contest, betting opportunities with a full field, the last thing in the world I'm going to do is take the 2-to-1 morning line favorite.
Well, this is the first race in the Rainbow Six, and if you look at the board there, we have different picks except for the 4 horse. So here's a place where you might want to go a little deep with that 20-cent wager and get yourself started, because it is a wide open affair, whether you like Wilco's Bullet or not. There's a lot of horses in this race that could absolutely win it, so go a little deep there, and that's the beauty of the 20-cent wager. You can go a little deeper than you might normally do if it was a $1 or a $2 ticket. We're going back to the turf for the 7th race, 5 furlong, maiden fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and up, special weight conditions, 1 scratch, number 9, Gold Piece. I went with the 5 horse in here, 1 look, and I was saying I think this horse is going to be able to turf, and I'm glad to see you thought the same thing.
Well, I was hoping you could tell me some more about the turf pedigree, but just based on form and what fact that 1 look took a significant progression from her first start to her second start, now gets on the grass, 5 furlongs on the grass. I love the rider switch here, Durrani, from Abdiel Hayen to Jesus Rios. I like both riders, don't get me wrong, but from a stylistic standpoint, Rios is much, much more aggressive than Abdiel Hayen is, and I like that, and I think that that's what 1 look needs, and I think she has a chance to take them all the way here.
Well, we both have the number 11 on our ticket. That's a little bit short shot. This one is short shot, stepping up to maiden special weight company after rallying to finish second. That was against $25,000 maidens. I'm not taking too much stock in that. That was going 5 furlongs in the turf. This daughter of the Wildcat is the most accomplished turf runner in the field. 5 previous races with 3 seconds.
Well, the 1 horse made my list. City Angel made my list last time out. She finished up very, very well last time, while 4th behind a speedball from the Loza barn and Goodelia. City Angel's replay, you'll see that she did come running. The problem is now she draws the rail again, going 5/8 on the grass with the 3 Sophie's Pride showing speed. I don't know how she's going to trip out, but if anybody can trip out on the turf, John Delgado's the rider. Garofalo second time out. This horse will improve, and as long as she runs as good as she did the first time, she's got a big chance at a nice number.
So we see. I also have the 3 on my ticket in there, and that's Sophia's Pride. And
speed is your weapon of choice.
Yes, speed is my weapon of choice. Now let's go to the 8th race, a 6 furlong sprint. Claimants 3 and up, $6,250. One of these full fields that are a little head scratcher to do. I went with the 5 Citations Honor. Can't read my writing. And you went with the number 7 horse.
Well, as you can see, racing fans, this is another situation where we get 3 picks apiece and we don't have a number between us. 6 deep in this race, and I think it's that kind of race. I think it's just a situation where if you think the race is going to unfold one way, I'm probably going to say it's going to unfold a different way. There's a ton of speed in this race, and I didn't see a whole lot of horses that don't want to drop 35 lengths last, because on our main track, it's hard to win from way, way back, but definitely mid-flight horses that can grind it out are the ways to go in some of these races, and Leavenworth is like that. Leavenworth, my top play. He can sit close when he runs longer, but he doesn't need to be near the lead. Arnie Fontanes, familiar with Leavenworth. He got good run out of him across town at Calder. The price will be right again, and this was a race where I just thought a lot of horses had a chance at a big number, including a horse that, no joke, I think will be at least 40 to 1. The 9, Bling Bang, made my list last time out. A deceptively strong middle move, spun wide off the corner and flattened out. Should he be able to save ground today under Carlos Lozada, I think that move will work a lot better for him at a big number.
So we got to go deep in this race again. I went with the 5 Citations Honor. I can't say this. Turning back to 3/4 of a mile, set the pace, finished second. Was the favorite. Was a cross down at Calder in his finale over there. It was against $6,250 condition. Claimers going 7 furlongs. The trainer, I'm not familiar with him that much, Dario Vega, but if you look at his record here, he's 2 for 3.
He's very, very good with improving on claiming horses. So when you're trusting Dario Vega at this level, this is the right guy for the job. He's kind of a poor man's Peter Walder, if you will. He picks up horses that other guys have not had success with, and he gets very good run out of them. So don't worry about that.
Our feature race of the afternoon, the 9th race, is the Soaring Softly, $75,000. This is 1 mile on the turf. Fillies and mares 3 years old and up. I want to go back and show you the Anca Germania, where the E.B. Rider, who I have on top of my ticket, won, and the horse that ran second to it, the 8 horse, Andrani, is also in this race. You'll see him. Pretty nice performances by both of them, Pete.
Well, E.B. Rider, she's just honest. She fires every time she runs, and Marty Wolfson has her in peak form. This is not exactly an easy cash for her. I think this is a tougher race than the race we're watching, the Anca Germania. But you can see E.B. Rider pins her ears when it matters and gets the job done over a Game Adriani, who was a long shot that afternoon. Now, she went over to Evangeline Downs in Louisiana the next time out and did not fare very well over that way. That course is very, very sandy and very, very hard, though. So I think you can draw a line through that race. You probably just didn't care for the surface. And there's a lot of different ways to go in this race, including the number 10 horse, who you picked second, who I used on top. She's honest. She's a graded stakes placed horse. She's Angelica Zapata, and she fires every time she runs, much like E.B. Rider.
Yeah, and she won here last year. She won the Wasted Tears right here last August, so she's a proven commodity. She's grade 3 stakes placed, and I just thought that these two were pretty tough to separate in there, the 7 and the 10 in my estimation, and I also threw in that horse, Adriani. I just thought that performance last time, I'm going to put a line through that last race and see if she can bounce back. It certainly has the connections to run well in here.
Well, speaking of drawing a line through the last race, go ahead and when you're handicapping this sequence, take a look at the replay of the 9 horse. We don't have it for you here. Lilborn Eliza, going into the first turn of her last race. It was her South Florida debut for Marty Wolfson. She had no place to go. She wanted to go. She didn't break all that well. She's a horse who wants to be on or near the lead, and she just was completely taken out of her game. So don't hold that against her. Figure she'll break better from a 9 post here this afternoon, and I think that if she's forwardly placed, she could take them a long way. Not sure she can win it, but definitely a horse to include in your exotic wagers.
You know, and this is, you've been watching the races now. When this race comes up, the 9th race, if it's favoring speed, the turf course, I think you got to have the 3. She's Spooky somewhere on your ticket. That's my long shot play of the day, and I'm hoping that horse might get loose on the lead for a pretty square price. So I'm going to add that in all my exotic wager tickets.
You just beautifully segued into today's 10th race, where speed is definitely my weapon of choice, and I'll be going all the way on the front end. This is a filly and mare sprint race at the 6 furlong marker. Non-winners are 3 the category, and ordinarily I'm not the kind of guy to take a horse off the layoff on a plunging class drop, but if there's a situation where I'll do it, it's with number 4, Yes No, Gotta Go. Santino Hernandez has been doing exceptionally well. This horse has proven that she has the ability to go at this level. She's proven she has some form at Gulfstream Park, and I just think she's the quickest of the quick with not a whole lot behind her.
Yeah, I had the 10 as my best bet. That 7 up there is not my selection here. This is my best bet of the day. The number 10, Luke Castor. This one moved to Efren Loza, Junior Bonvita claim. Drew cleared a wild wallop a field of 2 lifetime claimers. Won that race by 8.5 lengths, and the barn is 30% with new claims. It keeps the status quo. They got Michael Ritvo in the saddle. So my selections in that race were 10, 3, and 4.
Well, Lucas is the type of horse, again, if we had the replay, she's really just powered away from 2 fields. And it's a situation, if you're one of those handicappers that don't like taking horses rising in condition, as we touched on earlier, I really think that Lucasa is the exception to the rule on that level, because Lucasa has been so impressive, and moving to the Efren Loza barn off the claim. There's nothing but upside with Lucasa right now, so I certainly have no argument at all. I think she is definitely the one to beat.
And we have the 11th race today, 6 furlongs, fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and up, $6,250, non-winners of 2, a couple of scratches in here of the 2, the 6, and the 12. And I was handicapping this race and making the morning line, and this is the one I was telling you, but I was scratching my head for like a half hour trying to figure it out. All I said is, I know if the number 15 gets in, I'm going to have that one on top of my ticket. That was so frank. Drops to the $6,250 level, making a bid, finishing 3rd. That was against considerably tougher in here. But you see my selections up there, 15, 14, and 1. And you can count on one hand how many times I pick a 15 horse on the outside sprinting at 3/4 of a mile, well, even with scratches.
She looks the best horse. That's the thing about it. She does look the best horse. She blew the break terribly when she won her race 2 starts ago. And last time out, she ran against Irish Orchid, who was a Dennis Griffith 3rd-time starter that came over from Tampa and walloped the field. The 2nd-place horse that day, Nora in the Sky, was a dropper for the Oliveras barn. So these are significantly easier rivals than So Frank faced the last time she ran. But full disclosure, I just am not a fan. She's one of those horses, and unfortunately, if you like So Frank today, you're going to be okay, because if I bet on her, she has no chance at all. And when I don't, she is definitely the livest of live. So,
well, if I give you the money to bet on it, then I'll win.
Well, I'm off the bandwagon, so you're safe. If you like the 15, go to the windows. I'm off. I went with the 14, Indy Silver Bullet. She made a long sustained charge last time behind Gailey Suki. Gailey Suki was an upset winner that day, but Gailey Shuki came back to be a good 4th against a field of turf horses yesterday, so I think that race will hold up form-wise, and Jonathan Gonzalez, definitely a good fit for her. I'll use her to try to beat So Frank, who has been somewhat of a nemesis all summer long.
Well, that's how we see the Saturday action, but, next Saturday, a big day for us here. We have the start of the Florida Sire Series.
Yeah, 2-year-olds in action. I'm not sure if Sing Praises is going to be in that first division. I sure hope so for Stanley Gold.
Right.
So impressive as a maiden, and then came back and walloped the field of stakes horses. We also have those very nice horses from the Dorochenko shed row, and we also have some horses that I'm sure we haven't seen their best work yet, as is always the storyline with the Florida Sire Stakes. We have great racing here this afternoon on the simulcast ledger as well. The Grade 1 Whitney from Saratoga, a all-stakes program from Chester, West Virginia at Mountaineer Park, as well as a big card of racing out at Louisiana Downs as well. So excellent racing all afternoon long, and a pick 5 carryover here at Gulfstream.
Yeah, and that kicks off in race number 7, and it was a surprise. Mountaineer opened up the form today right in the front, all the PPs from Mountaineer. So if you're here for simulcasting along with our great racing today, should be a day that you got to be at Gulfstream Park.
Well, hopefully, if you're watching this, you're at least in a facility where you can wager on the Gulfstream Park races. And if you're at home watching on online feeds or on any of your AGW sites, definitely take a look at the Pick 5 sequence here today. It's going to be a great sequence and a great afternoon. No rain as of yet. We'll keep it that way, fast and firm for Saturday's card.
Good luck, everybody.